When you go visit a college or a university, they'll all tell you the clubs are great. We have a club for everything. For example, Clarkson in Potsdam says it has over 200 clubs. The Model Airplane Club, the D&D Club, of course, the Pan-Hellenic Association, the Amateur Radio Club. SUNY Canton has the Automotive Club, the Black Student Union, Celestial Crafts, and now a Blacksmithing Club. We visit the Forge on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Advisory services offered through Hightower Advisors, LLC. Securities are offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. And Kinney Drugs, now accepting S3 Nations benefits and OTC Network Wellness benefit cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, April 28th. First up, state lawmakers say they're making progress on budget negotiations, but they were forced to pass another extender yesterday to keep government funded. Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders are still trying to reach an agreement on policy issues like auto insurance reform and changes to the state's climate law before agreeing on dollar amounts in the budget. Assembly Ways and Means Committee Chairman Gary Pretlow said in an exchange with his Republican counterpart on the committee, Phil Palmisano, that progress is being made.
But I can assure you that we're getting closer on actually all the issues that are in question.
So you feel we're getting closer on auto insurance?
I believe we're closer on auto insurance, we're closer on immigration, we're closer on CLCPA.
Senator Tom O'Mara, the leading Republican on the Senate Finance Committee, criticized the process, which is mostly happening behind closed doors.
It's no way to run a government. The citizens of New York deserve better. They deserve clarity. They deserve time to digest and provide us with input.
Lawmakers expect budget talks to continue for at least several more days. The latest extender runs through Thursday. The Republican candidate for governor was in Clinton County over the weekend. Kara Chapman has more.
Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman spoke at the Brookside Barn in Altona Saturday.
This is not a campaign. This is a battle for the heart and soul of the state of New York.
Blakeman framed the race between him and incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul as a tipping point. He said choosing him will mean prosperity, jobs, and lower taxes, versus what he called despair, outmigration, and lawlessness. Blakeman criticized the governor's green energy and crime policies. He said she's failing to keep the state's prisons safe, and he vowed to rehire the corrections officers fired in the wake of last year's illegal strike. Blakeman also said state money being spent on services for people in the country illegally should instead go to things like rural health care.
We got the money. It's just allocated in the wrong direction, and it's misguided, and basically that will all change when I become governor, because we have a governor that makes people miserable. I want to be the governor that makes people happy and healthy.
Last month's Siena poll found that Hochul's lead over Blakeman has narrowed from 20 to 13 points. On how he plans to make up the gap, Blakeman said he's ahead of schedule compared to Hochul's last Republican opponent.
4 years ago, Lee Zeldin was 10 points further behind than my campaign right now. So we're in a much better position, and he lost the close race by 5 points. So we're going to win because we're going to make that up very easily. There are a lot of undecided voters who don't know who I am yet. And when they get to meet me and they know what my policies are, they're going to vote for me.
Blakeman's been endorsed by President Donald Trump. So has Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino, who's running in the Republican primary for New York's 21st congressional district. Blakeman said both Constantino and his primary opponent, Assemblyman Robert Smullen, are excellent candidates.
We need Republican representation in the 21st, and we need that extra vote for the Speaker, for Mike Johnson. So I think you got 2 great candidates, and I'll let the people of the 21st Congressional District decide who they favor, but they're both great.
There will be no Republican primary for governor. Current NY21 Congresswoman Elise Stefanik abruptly pulled out of the race in December. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
State police have arrested a Pulaski man for animal neglect. State police say last year they received a tip about an animal not receiving proper care at 45-year-old Jeffrey Zare's home on State Route 3 in Pulaski. After an investigation, police obtained a search warrant for Zare's 87-acre property in March. They found about 140 animals, including horses, goats, sheep, cats, and calves. Animal rescue organizations and veterinarians evaluated and removed the animals. Police say many of the animals didn't have access to food, water, and shelter, and that they were suffering from malnourishment and infections. Zare's been charged with 40 counts of torturing or injuring animals and failing to provide proper sustenance. During the search, police also found 2 rifles in his home. Zare's a convicted felon, and it's illegal for him to possess a rifle or shotgun. He was also charged with 1 count of criminal possession of a weapon. He's due in court next month. At SUNY Canton, there's a new forging club where students learn the art of blacksmithing. Our news intern, Richard Haller, was curious about what goes on in that lab, so he decided to visit.
It smells like motor oil and sawdust inside a welding lab at SUNY Canton. 20-year-old Nathan St. Louis from Plattsburgh is heating up a piece of metal. He's getting it hot enough so he can shape it into whatever he wants. It turns bright red.
You want to almost throw the hammer at the anvil, and then don't go against what your elbow wants to do.
St. Louis takes a hammer and pounds the metal down on an anvil. It bends and sparks.
A lot of people will try that, or just like swing entirely with their wrist. But it's a full shoulder, elbow, wrist movement, and you have to get it as a flowing motion. And if you do that, you'll be able to hammer for hours.
St. Louis is studying electrical engineering. He says he was interested in blacksmithing and then saw a window open up to start a forge at the school. With some help from faculty, he and other students wrote up grants to buy everything they needed.
So this is an induction forge. It uses current through a coil that heats up the metal.
The forge itself looks nothing like what I imagined. No hot-burning hearth with fire, smoke, and brick. It's modern-looking, a tall machine with a readout and some knobs and buttons. Underneath is a cooler that looks like a dorm fridge that keeps it from getting too hot. Sticking out of the forge is a long, hot coil that bends into a circle so you can hold the metal between it.
Made some hammer heads, some knives, some pry bars, a shoehorn for my grandfather.
St. Louis says that he likes being able to add his own details to each tool he makes.
I like this because it allows me to customize the daily items in my life, and then I can make it exactly how I like it. Whereas if you buy it from a store, you kind of have to deal with whatever they make.
Members of the forging club come and go. For some, it's their first time blacksmithing, like for Matthew Barrick from Canton.
Up at Upper Canada Village, they have, just across the border in Canada, they have a blacksmith station there. And ever since I saw that and got to talk to him for quite a long time, I've always just had kind of like a little bit of an interest in blacksmithing.
Harold Bush from South Colton is making a chisel. He smooths at the edges with a bench grinder to keep it from getting too sharp.
Over where I live, there's this guy that carves statues. On this little road, he made a white Bengal tiger statue, and he made a couple pandas. And I don't know if I'll be that talented, but
you're going to use this chisel to do that.
And I love camping, and there's days that you'll get bored at the camping site, so the only thing I can do is go in the woods and grab something to make something out of. So
Matthew Gaddis is an IT student. He says that blacksmithing helps him find his creativity.
Like, I can't draw, I can't do any of that, but like this is a cool thing to do. So like in a sense, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a artistic form of freedom, for lack of better words.
All of the students say that this forge is an opportunity and space to be creative and focus on making real things with their hands that they can use in their daily lives. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Richard Haller in Canton.
Way more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. If you usually listen to the show on the radio, but sometimes you're thinking, it sure would be convenient if I could listen on my way to work in the morning or while I work out, guess what? You can. Subscribe to the Story of the Day podcast. Same show, free, downloads automatically almost 2 hours earlier than it's on the radio, and you can listen when you're out of cell service. Go to your podcast app of choice and you'll find it there, or go to ncpr.org/podcasts. Music today by Wrightson Tongue of Edwards and Mark Corey of Watertown. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.